Hello, welcome to the lecture series on vehicle dynamics. In this session, we will study acceleration performance. Though I have titled this chapter as acceleration and braking performance, initially I will discuss about acceleration. Here, we will explain power limited acceleration. We will discuss factors influencing acceleration. Then explain traction limited acceleration. In the later video, we will talk about braking. I have already defined what acceleration performance means. While giving the definition for performance of a vehicle, it is the time taken for the vehicle to accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour. Mostly in Europe and America, they talk about this 0 to 60 miles per hour. In India, we talk about something 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. So what are the factors that influence acceleration performance we will study. There is what you call it as engine power limited acceleration and there is traction limited acceleration. First, let me discuss about engine power limited acceleration. Here let us understand first engine characteristics, power to weight ratio, powertrain inertia and powertrain layout, how exactly they influence acceleration. Later we will discuss about traction limited acceleration. Assuming that there is adequate power from the engine is available, however the coefficient of friction between the tire and the road influence acceleration, we will study there. Engine power limited acceleration. See, for vehicular applications, the ideal performance characteristic of a power plant are constant power over full range. Here I have drawn power versus engine speed characteristic. Whatever be the engine speed, power should remain constant. And at lower engine speed, the torque available should be higher. As the engine speed increases, the torque should decrease. This is what I consider it as ideal power plant characteristics. Ideal power plant characteristic. A power plant can be an engine. A power plant can be an electric motor. Okay. So if you have this kind of characteristics, the vehicle, this kind of characteristics will provide the vehicle with high tractive effort at low speeds, where demands for acceleration, drawbar pull and great climbing capabilities are high. As the speed increases, of course, torque requirement decreases. The series wound DC motor, if I use as a power plant, or steam engine provides such kind of characteristics. Many times most of the times we use internal combustion engine as our power plant, and its performance characteristics are different from what we desire. So it is necessary that the engine characteristics have to be modified to meet this requirement. So let us look at the engine characteristics. Here I have shown the engine characteristic for a gasoline engine and also for a diesel engine. You observe here it is power versus engine speed. Here I have written torque versus engine speed. Also I have drawn specific fuel consumption characteristic. This is the torque characteristics, this is the engine characteristics, this is SFC, specific fuel consumption characteristic. You can observe here at low speeds engine torque will be low. As the engine speed increases, torque increasing, and torque reaches to a maximum value. So maybe that is the corresponding speed you can read from here. If I further increase the speed, the torque value decreases. So, indicated power developed by an engine, it is mean effective pressure and the stroke volume and the number of cycles per minute. Here the question is, the mean effective pressure value changes as the speed increases. So at a particular point, mean effective pressure will be maximum and the torque will be maximum. As the speed increases, the mean effective pressure decreases because of the lower volumetric efficiency. So the torque curve starts falling down. However, power depends upon the brake power. If you look at it, is 2 pi engine speed torque, okay, divided by say 60,000 kilowatt. As the engine speed increases, the power increases, so reaches to a maximum. But beyond that, what happens is, I think friction power starts dominating, the power decreases. So there is a maximum brake power speed. Right, thus torque maximum and power maximum, they will not occur at the same speed. So here there is some point where the specific fuel consumption will be minimum. So here I have drawn the similar characteristic for diesel engine. Somewhat the torque high is higher. For certain length, the torque almost, variation is not much. But beyond the speed, the torque decreases. Same, power increases, then falls down, right? Same here also, torque maximum and power maximum are not occurring at the same speed. Observe here, the petrol engine or gasoline engine speed ranges are quite high. Diesel engine speed ranges are quite low. Okay, so for a specific particular engine, I have drawn these characteristics. Now the thing is, these characteristics are no way resembling what I require. So then how do I convert these engine characteristics to this type of characteristics? So this is what, suppose these are the engine characteristics, this is what I need. So for that, what I'm going to do is, let me choose one operating point, one operating speed. Say in this operating speed, This is the torque available. This is the power available. This is a specific fuel consumption. Let me call this torque as T, engine torque. Let me call this speed as NE, engine speed. And let me call this as engine power. Okay, right, fine. So assume there are no transmission losses. I keep the throttle position same. I keep the engine power same. The engine power same, then what I am going to do is I'll use a device called transmission or gearbox. I vary the torque. For example, look here. Power is nothing but 2 pi engine speed, say engine torque. So the power remains the same across the transmission, assuming no losses. This should become 2 pi NT. Okay, let me call that torque as TT. So if I cut this off, what I can do is NE TE is equal to NT TT, we can write. Now TT is equal to NE by NT multiplied by TE, I can write. So what I can do is if NE by NT means, suppose I have reduced the speed. Let us say engine is running at 3 times this output speed, then T, the torque can be 3 times. Correct? As I increase the speed, I change this ratio and my torque can be something like this. Output torque. I'm keeping the power same, right? Go on changing the transmission ratio. I can go on varying the torque. That's keeping the throttle position same. Using a transmission, varying the gear ratio here. I can, as the engine speed increases, I can vary this, I can obtain this kind of characteristic. So thus in a IC engine powertrain, it is necessary to insert a transmission system to change the characteristic from this type to this type. Please remember that if I am putting my position here, so my curve may be another curve like this, or here it can be another like this. If I keeping here, maybe my curve is something like this. Okay, and accordingly the power curve will also be changing. Maybe my power curve is this. For this is the power curve. Maybe for this is this one power curve, like this. The power curve will also, power characteristic will change, the power value will change, but accordingly the torque will also change. So that way I can obtain a characteristics like that. So that's why in practice, if this is the powertrain, and of course here you will have the clutch to disconnect the powertrain from the power plant when desired, and we'll have a transmission here. This transmission, as we have studied in automotive technology, it can be a manual transmission. By changing the gear position, I can obtain different gear ratios. Or I can have, instead of clutch, I can have a torque converter. Instead of manual transmission, I can have automatic transmission. By changing the gear position, it is possible to obtain different torques at the output point. So my aim is not to deal with transmission. My aim is to deal with the characteristics, right? Okay. Now you look at this. As I told you, power is given by 2 pi nt. So torque can be, suppose this is the brake drum or whatever it is, if you consider. If this is the force, this is the radius, force into radius will give you the torque. So that's why T I am replacing by Fr. 2 pi n is nothing but omega. R and F we get. Omega r angular velocity into radius will give you speed. And this will give you force. Okay. So now this is nothing but tractive effort. Correct? So now if I consider this is the vehicle, these are the wheels, say V is the vehicle speed, let us say F is the tractive effort or tractive force. Correct. Let at this point the power available is P and this is radius. Okay. So tractive effort I can write now P by V. So this is the power that is available and V is the vehicle speed. Power at the road wheel is the product of tractive effort and velocity it follows. The tractive effort is proportional to the power and inversely proportional to the road speed. Okay. Now if I draw this one, as tractive effort versus road speed, if I draw, I will get a constant power curve like this. Constant power curve will get this. Okay. So now the question is, what I need to do is to get high tractive effort in the beginning, probably use one gear. When this speed is about to fall down, use another gear ratio, another gear ratio, maybe another gear ratio, so that we can achieve this constant power curve. This is what is required. Right. This is what a traction and resistance force are shown here. You see here, this is the resistance line. This includes rolling resistance, aerodynamic resistance, and gradient resistance. At low speed, aerodynamic resistance may not be there. I may not consider. Then rolling resistance and gradient resistance. So the tractive effort should be more than this, then only vehicle will accelerate. Okay. So that's how I have to produce again the torque that I produce divided by radius of the wheel give me a tractive force. Okay, I'll try to have higher torque. So higher tractive force. I engage a higher gear ratio. But what happens, higher gear ratio rise? Now you see the behavior of this. If you look at the engine characteristic, the torque versus speed, if I draw for engine, again it is like this. So as I go on opening the throttle valve, torque keeps increasing, and at this point torque will reach to a maximum. If I further open the throttle valve, the torque will not increase. That means to say the tractive force, so torque decreases, tractive force start decreasing. So it will not be able, right? That's what happens. The engine start rising. So then immediately what I should be doing, I engage another gear. Great. Now the load has come down like this. Say you have overcome these, right? It will not be able to overcome the next one. So I engage another gear, right? It is some other gradient resistance or rolling and gradient resistance. You can see this. If I go on opening the throttle valve beyond a point, it will not be able to overcome the next resistance. For that, I need to increase the torque, so I engage another gear, different gear. Is that okay? That's how when I join all these points by contact points, I'll get a constant power curve like this. So that's how I can bring the manual transmission and I can achieve that, right? So here you see I have considered Honda CR-V vehicle. This is gear ratio 1, gear ratio 2, gear ratio 3, gear ratio 4, gear ratio 5. Reverse is 2. Here actually the output speed will be higher than the engine speed. Correct? No? Right. You can call it as overdrive or something like that. Then you have a final drive for 4.5. So these are the specification: maximum power, maximum torque, correct, wheel diameter, all these I have considered. Considering this, now tractive resistance is rolling resistance, aerodynamic resistance and gradient resistance. For low speeds, I ignore this one. So I will have only rolling resistance and gradient resistance. So let us say Te is the engine torque. Then this engine torque gets multiplied with gear ratio in the transmission. Then it gets further multiplied in the final drive ratio. This is the transmission efficiency. Then if I divide by R tire, I'll get the tractive effort. Okay, the tractive effort should be able to overcome this resistance. So for this, what should be the gear ratio? From here, I can get the gear ratio. In this, vehicle weight is known. So for the specific conditions, rolling resistance is known. What is the maximum grade, that also known. Engine torque is known. Final drive ratio is known. Transmission ratio is known. So I can find out what should be the gear ratio to achieve this. If you want to get what I am trying to say is that this is engine, right? Engine. This is the transmission. This is the final drive. Then this is the wheel. Okay. So here whatever torque that is available is engine torque. This gear ratio in NTG1, if I do it, the torque gets multiplied here. And finally, this is the final drive ratio you have. And further, the torque gets multiplied. Whatever torque that is available. So, if you see in this view, that is the torque that is available. So this torque divided by this radius of the tire radius, if I divide, I'll get the tractive effort or tractive force. This F tractive force. Okay, that is the idea with which we are done. So we can find the gear ratio that way. So what is the maximum vehicle speed? Maximum vehicle speed, again, D is the tire diameter. Let us say, if I say NE is the engine speed, maximum engine speed, this if I divide by gear ratio and final drive ratio, I'll be getting the tire speed. So pi d tire n multiplied by 60 divided 1000, I will be getting what is the vehicle maximum speed in kilometers per hour. If I know what maximum speed I have designed this, then it is possible to find out even gear ratio 4. So gear ratio 2 to gear ratio 1, 3 to 4 and all that, this has a geometric ratio. From this geometric ratio I can find out, then intermediate gear ratios can be determined to meet that requirement. So we can write this equations, and in this we can calculate what is the vehicle speed and all that. So I can write simple a MATLAB program how exactly for each gear ratio what is the vehicle speed calculations can be performed. So tractive effort you can find out, what is the acceleration vehicle can achieve also I can find out. Okay, tractive forces, vehicle speed, again I use the same equations and I have calculated these things using MATLAB. Okay, just do this kind of calculate just to give an idea for you. Okay, there is something like, now we have to tune these gears depending on the purpose. Whether we are using a vehicle for what purpose, means whether we are using a vehicle for racing, whether we are using a vehicle for passenger vehicle. So that idea we must be clear about it. See, the racing vehicle, the idea is that when I try to change the gear, the speed should not drop. That's a very important thing. That means I should keep closer gears. Means, what do you mean by this closing and all that? Suppose 3.23 is the first gear ratio, 3.23:1. Next one is 2.19:1. If I divide one by the other, I'll get the percentage. This if I divide by this, I'll get percentage. See here it is 147, 128, 123 like this. With the changing the gear, I should not be able to drop the speed. So you should have a closer gear ratio. So for passenger vehicles and all those things, the gap should be, say, wider. That's very important. Initial gear ratio should be high because to overcome the tractive resistance, that includes rolling resistance and gradient resistance. Here speed performance is not the criteria, overcoming the obstacle is the main criteria. So here in a maybe SUV's vehicle, it's something like intermediate. That's how, depending on the purpose, we have to match the gear ratios. Either we should have closer or wider depending on the requirement. Here I've shown the engine map. This is brake mean effective pressure versus engine speed. So these are specific fuel consumption lines, different loads. this is the operating schedule of ideal transmission. Okay, this is a wide open throttle. Now you can see here the value somewhere in this, it is 0.46 kg per kilowatt hour. It is in SI system, so it's not kg per kilowatt hour. Anyway, it is pound per bhp hour. So it's 0.46 and here it is 0.50. And you can see all other lines, the SFC values are different. The minimum SFC range is here. So if you look at this, these are a range of engine speeds you can think about 3000 to 4000 RPM. And here you can see that the brake mean effective pressure. Suppose I say BHP is equal to, we can also write brake mean effective pressure BMEP versus again LA again N, like this. So from this we can find out what is brake mean effective pressure. So these are the lines. So if we can operate our engine within these ranges, so then the fuel consumptions will be minimum. So most of the road speeds for passenger cars corresponding to say between 2000 RPM to say 4000 RPM, between the mean effective pressure values of something like 60 to something like 90. So in this range the fuel consumption will be minimum, and that corresponds to a desired road speed of the vehicle. Then we can achieve mean consumption. So it is necessary that either our third gear or the fourth gear so operating somewhere at these speeds, then we can achieve the minimum fuel consumption. So that way these fuel maps will be very useful to design the transmission system for minimum fuel consumption. Okay, so that is about how the manual transmission system we design to achieve the desired say acceleration performance and fuel consumption and the gear. So choosing suitable gear ratio depending upon what purpose the vehicle is or purpose the vehicle is designed, whether it is for high performance or it is for a passenger, depending on, or it is in the rough road conditions. Depending on that, we can have closed and closer or medium or wider gear ratios. So now so let us improvement over this. Then we will discuss about something about automatic transmission system, how exactly we can design, what advantages automatic transmissions will have in acceleration performance in the next session. Now, thank you.